On today's episode of RPG Book Club,
On October 3rd, he asked me what day it was.
It's October 3rd.
hello and welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play long games together and discuss them in the moment. I'm Sam Allman.
I'm Michael Rodriguez.
I'm Elias Warren.
Michael, it's so good to have you back. It has not been the same without you for 2 weeks.
Thank you so much. I'm pleased to report that I've drank only 5 Yon Begons today. And so I'm feeling particularly alert and awake. So yeah, it was great. Tartarus was scary.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we were able to. I'm really glad that we were able to find you and get you out of there in time.
Really glad. I'm really happy that you were there. When they found me, I had nothing but my underwear on. And they said to me, "What are you doing?" I didn't even have an answer. I don't remember anything. I went out to drink, and then the next thing I know, I was in. No, I'm just kidding. A lot of shit happened. I had like a lot of real life shit happen, so I couldn't make it last week. But I'm here to stay, you guys. I'm like the boyfriend that you break up with, but I'm right back. I'm not leaving you. Hi. Yeah. How are you? Hi. I'm great.
So the only bit of follow-up that I have for you for the weeks while you were gone is what happened with the cleanup day? Because for me and Eli, we had Kenji and Kazu with us, but you didn't have social links with them. So I just want to know like what's going on.
The cleanup day was like probably the best part of literally like November and October. No, October up till November for me. Like it was you get paired with Yukari and Junpei. Okay. And I don't think I like Yukari very much because she acts like a Cancer, and I am a Cancer, so I'm not really that. But she, and of course, it's just like, all right, hurry up, let's get this shit done. Like, I don't want to waste my time. Mm-hmm. And Kenji is like,
so Kenji's there.
Yeah, Kenji's there, and he's like,
okay.
Yeah, he's like, man, it really sucks that the school festival got canceled and shit. Like, there was like a really cool like contest for like a schoolgirl outfit, and they were like, but they canceled it because they didn't know if it would be popular. And Junpei was like, schoolgirl? Oh hell no. And I'm like, okay, Junpei, I'm really not here for your bullshit this early in the morning. Like, it's cleaning day. I don't want to hear this. And then they flipped the script, and he's like, if I dressed as a schoolgirl, I'd be cute as fuck. I'd win. He's like, I would have won that. And then Kenji and Kazushi were like, no, I join and I'd win. Fuck you. Like, I'd be the cutest schoolgirl. I'd be the cutest schoolgirl, right, Makoto? And then Aigus comes in and she's like, hello, yes, I would be the cutest schoolgirl because I'm not a human. And then they're like, Jesus fucking Christ. And so they asked me, they're like, who would be the cutest, you know? And then I was like, Junpei. I said the option that I chose was like, it's a little odd, but Junpei. And so Junpei, because I felt bad for the guy, but they were saying like, yeah, that's literally the cleaning day. They flirted with awesome. Yukari a little bit, but Junpei was just like, yeah, I'd totally be a cute schoolgirl. I'd win. Okay. And I was like, wow, this game is an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, that makes up a little bit for the transphobia earlier. Jeez.
Yeah.
Right?
I was so confused. I was like, who is Junpei right now? Like, what is happening? It's so confusing.
That's amazing.
It was.
Okay, so that was September. That happened in September. The last thing of importance that happened in September when we left off was so we had the typhoon come through and kicked us out of school and skipped a bunch of times, and we were leading up, getting ready for the dark hour, which starts promptly on October 3rd. Nope, not October 3rd. That's October 4th. October 3rd. Toriume Sensei, who is Maya, the social link, she's talking about exams, and she says if we don't do good, it will be her fault. Which, knowing that she's an alcoholic that blames everything on herself, and she feels like a failure at her job, is kind of sad. Yeah. But then she also mentions that she's mastered how to speak in leet speak, and I'm like,
She's like,
That's definitely Maya.
I've mastered your leet speak, and I came up with my own incomprehensible internet gibberish that's actually like some super like in-depth code speak, and I'm just like, all right, lady.
She's definitely a teacher.
Yeah. So on the 4th, we have the full moon, and right at the beginning of the day, it skips all the way to the dark hour. You don't get to do anything at all. The shadow is in Iwatodai Station. Fuuka senses two of them right after Yukari is like, well, what makes you think it'll just be one? Because she jinxed it. And so then we have 2 of them to fight. Shinji says he'll meet up with us later, and Ken isn't there either. So, and then we get to the station and neither of them ever show up. So then we have our boss fight, which is a gimmick fight, like more so than all the other ones so far. You can't kill Fortune at all until you kill Strength, and Fortune plays this giant roulette wheel that gives buff or debuffs, status effects, or damage to either the party or the boss, depending on if you land on a red or a blue tile. And I was really, really bad at roulette, so I had a bunch of the magic and physical mirrors, so I would just put one of each of those up. So then I would suck at the roulette, it would hit me, and then it would go back and hit them instead. It was the only way I got through it. It still took me like an hour, but it wasn't like a hard hour. It was a tedious hour.
The fight took about 15 minutes for me, which I thought was a really long fight anyway. But the trick for that was to hit X on the red tile, and it will always land on blue. And so that, like, I didn't miss any of them except for 2. And so when I was hoping that, like, I was trying to purposefully get the boss to be enraged, because when you're enraged, you take so much more damage. And so, but yeah, like I really hated it at first until I realized that there had to be like a mechanic gimmick that was there, and you hit X on red. For the people listening at home, if you're not here yet and for some reason spoiling it for yourself, you hit X on red and then it'll land on blue.
Okay,
and
yeah,
that's how you purposefully make the boss.
Because I was looking like it looked like it was 1.3 rotations, so I was trying to math that out. But if I would have known to just
you're like literally taking out like a calculator for it. You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I was like calculating cosines and tangents. And
like that meme with the lady who's got all the math in front of her face from the
So that's probably why it took me forever, and why I had to use all of my attack and magic mirrors.
What I noticed after a while was if I was going for a specific one, I would wait to hit it until the wheel was on the like exact opposite side of the one I wanted, and I was able to get it to come around properly to where I wanted it to be. But it did take some trial and error.
Oh yeah, I like at that point I wasn't even like trying to aim it at any point when I realized that you could just hit it on a red one and it would go anywhere, because I was like, me surviving this turn is much more important than me trying to get like one specific buff. Yeah. It was a really annoying
it's super annoying. So after the fight, Strega doesn't show up, neither does Ken or Aragaki, and I wrote in my notes, looks like nothing is going to happen at all for another full moon. And boy, was I wrong. So Akihiko, as everyone realizes that Ken and Shinji never showed up, he's like, oh, today's October 4th, isn't it? Go back to
Mitsu's like, oh my god, it's October 4th.
So he's like, go back without me. I'm going to look for him for a while. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So so then it fades and you see Shinji meeting up with Ken on, I forgot where it was, but it was that quote unquote bad side of town where like we first met Strega way back a couple months ago. And Ken says that October 4th was when his mom died and that Shinji murdered her. And ever since then, everything has been bad. And Ken even thought about suicide and only did it because his mom wouldn't like it. So he instead vowed to kill her killer and threatens to kill Shinji.
Because she totally like that.
Yeah, she's like, don't kill yourself, but kill other people. That's what I want.
I mean, to be fair though, he just was like, hey, he did reveal to Shinji just like, you said that like you didn't want to deal with it, but I'm going to make you deal with it. And he just did admit that he was like suicidal.
Yeah.
So, he was probably like in a really shitty place.
Yeah.
To be fair.
So Shinji is just like, all right, if you're going to kill me, then kill me. Do it. Just
he's super depressed. Like, obviously, Shinji is not okay with his life.
Yeah,
right
not
now.
at all. Like, if it wasn't obvious with his super reluctance to like be a good person, and like he was taking pills to forget that he was a persona user type thing, like all those things were definitely pointing to him not being okay with what happened back in the day. But Ken is just like, oh, you're just living your life like it's no big deal, and Shinji's just like, please just kill me. And so then it flashes over to the dorm where Mitsuru is like, oh my god, it is October 4th. That's when Ken's mom died. So Fuuka tries to sense them, and Mitsuru reveals that C's accidentally killed Ken's mom because they were chasing a shadow, and Shinji lost control of his persona, and she died in the crossfire. So Fuuka then finds them, and she knows that senses that a Strega member is also close by. So Mitsuru runs off, and everybody follows. Back in the bad side of town, Shinji is like, please kill me. I wanted to forget. That's why I left, and I've been taking the pills. It's my fault. I deserve to die. But if Ken kills him, he'll be haunted just like Shinji's been haunted all this time. So Ken's just like, shut up. I don't care. I'm going to kill you anyways. So then Hobo Jesus shows up to Kaya, and he says that it's hard to stop us without Chidori because, spoilers, another month has gone by, still have a girl in fucking
we find out nothing about what's going on with her.
No, so she's still, even on November 1st, we still just have a hostage in our company hospital. But he says without Chidori, it's hard, but he's going to stop us. And he says that Shinji is going to die, whether Ken does it or not, and because the pills will kill him.
He starts to ask them, like, who is the person that's able to sense the targets that we're trying to like protect, and like, how do you know? So effectively, they're looking for whoever's Fuuka because Chidori is their Fuuka. And
that's
what he asks.
So Takaya says that the pills will kill Shinji, and then Ken is mad because why kill someone? Because if he kills someone who's already going to die, it's not even worth it.
Fun anymore.
And then Takaya says, "Oh, but it's okay because you were planning on killing yourself after killing Shinji." And Ken's like, "Well, I mean, yeah." And Takaya says that he's just going to make it easy on both of them and kill them both since they're going to die anyways. So Shinji dives at Takaya to take him down to save Ken, but Takaya shoots him. Takaya is like, which one of you can sense shadow? And Ken says, it's me. Like, that's why they let me join, even though I'm so young. So please kill me. Don't kill Shinji. And so Takaya aims at Ken, but then Shinji jumps in front of the bullet. We get an anime cutscene where Shinji bleeds out and everybody shows up. I don't know exactly what happens because Persona 3 doesn't let you put up subtitles, which I've started playing Persona 5, and that's my favorite feature of Persona 5 is I can put up subtitles over the anime. But basically what happens is everyone's like, no, don't die. And he's like, no, too bad. Ken, Ken, you need to harness your anger so you can get stronger. And then he tells Akihiko to take care of Ken, and then he dies. And a lot of plot happened on that full moon instead of the 0 that it seemed like at first.
Were you guys able to get a link with Shinji?
No.
Social link? No.
Okay. Yeah, I built a social link with him before he died.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you get it to 10? Because you're not going anywhere from here.
No, but I don't think he was able to get to 10. You're not able to get to 10 with Shinji. His is a little bit shorter.
Dang.
But he was apparently like a really good cook, and he really likes serving. Like one time, you're like, you help Fuuka with cooking because she sucks at it a lot.
Yeah, I was going to go into that. I've started dating Fuuka. I guess me and Hugo have broken it off, though there wasn't anything about it. It just I started talking to Fuuka, and
that's exactly how. Yeah, it's like Shinji comes around and he's like helping us cook. The first few times I've went out to eat with him a few times, and he really likes serving people, he one time said like, yeah, yeah, no, because you made him promise that he should cook for everybody, and that's what kind of makes this death a little sadder. Is that like between the main character and him, he is you can tell that he's like struggling to bond with people, and so you have dinner with him a few times until he cooks, and then when he cooks and he cooks so well, you're like, hey, you should do it for everybody, I think it'd be really cool. He's like, yeah, okay. And then he goes out to eat with you, and you're like, I'll help you cook, and he's like, no, like if you help me you won't enjoy it as much. And I'm like, wow, Shinji, you're like really sub right there. Like that's a really sub thing to say, you know, just like, no, like if you touch the food, how can you enjoy it? I'm like, oh wow. But yeah, like he was like a really shy person. You couldn't really, I remember like trying to be nice to him through a lot of the dialogue, and it would just show that it would like purposely say that he was very embarrassed, and his like bashful face is really, it was like a really terrible art. It's like so ugly. I was like, oh my, it looks like me being embarrassed. It just looks like really awkward and like hurt. Like, you know, he just looks like he's in pain. No, yeah, we don't get an anime with the PSP version, so I'm glad that they put that story there to bond with him, because it meant a little bit more.
Yeah.
Within his death.
Like, he died and then says, take care of Ken. And you're like, cool, thanks.
Yep. Yeah, that's kind of like how it is.
I have to admit, like that whole time as he's dying, I'm like, oh, come on. I'm wielding Kusi Mitama. I have fucking Recarm.
Yeah.
Yukari, Mitsuru, or Akihiko could also have done something. Like, what the fuck? Why didn't they just heal him?
Right.
It's a very Aerith moment from Final Fantasy VII. Yeah. Just like, oh, well, she's dead. I have a Phoenix down.
I mean, to be fair, Aerith at least was the healer, so makes sense there.
Yeah.
But Shinji was not the healer; he was the tank. So
my guess is the justification for this is that when they fall in combat with shadows, they're just going unconscious. Yeah. They're not actually dying.
Yeah, that's usually what the JRPG trope is. It's KO instead of dead.
Mm-hmm.
So on the 5th, the narrator says my favorite thing that the narrator has said. He says, yesterday was a horrible tragedy. However, you must still go to school today.
just like real life, right? Just like work.
Just like, man, I don't have enough points to or PTO to take off at work, so I guess I'm going to school today.
Yep.
But which reminds me, when I lost Sebastian a couple years ago, I didn't have any PTO available, but my TMs were just like, don't come in tomorrow. Like, we'll find a way. We won't let you get fired. Just don't go. Like, that's super dumb. Because yesterday being a horrible tragedy, however, you must still go to work today is kind of a really messed up thing.
Yeah,
terrible thing to experience. Yeah.
But so at the school, there's an assembly for Shinji, and the seniors that sit in front of you at every assembly don't even know who Shinji is. So Junpei tells him to shut up, which is the first thing I recognized from the opening cinematic. Because I talked, I think last week, of like how much more of this game are we going to have? Like, none of the opening cinematic has happened in the game yet, but Junpei yelling at them to shut up was from the original, so we're making progress finally. So then Akihiko was absent all morning, and Mitsuru tells us to meet after school. After school, Aki goes into the assembly hall by himself, and he's talking to Shinji's photo. He says he tried too hard to fight after losing Miki, and he ended up losing Shinji too. Didn't matter how tough it was because he still lost Shinji. So then his persona digivolves to Caesar.
That's Ken was my Ken, Tuxedo Ken, was watching me play, and he actually said, "Oh, they're like Digimon, they're evolving." I was like, "I'm a Pokemon boy."
Yeah, right.
But yeah, they totally digivolved. So especially because like they didn't level up and then evolve like a Pokemon. Like, this definitely was like their Digisoul like became stronger, and therefore they could digivolve. Like, it's way more Digimon than Pokemon.
Yeah.
And you can fight me IRL later.
No, I trust you.
But so the meeting after school is about Ken, and they're like, well, what should we do? He tried to kill one of us. Should we still trust him? But he isn't in his room. So Fuuka runs off to find him, even though she doesn't know where he is. Akihiko says to let him go. He's the only one who can decide how to live his life. And then after that, you get control of your character, and it lets you go into Shinji's room. And I expected there to be some sort of flavor, like he would have a diary entry or something like that, but all he had was his box of possessions, and you can rifle through it and take his equipment back. So I did that because he was wearing good stuff. But because that's one thing, like in RPGs, I prefer the like breaking the fourth wall method of like somebody dies in the story and you just get all of their stuff in your menu and like there's no fanfare.
Yeah, that's
about
what
it.
happened.
But,
that's what happened to me.
But in ours, you have to go into his room and take it back from him, which like it's cool that you could get it back, but I prefer it to just happen in the background. Like it's a mechanical thing to make the game fun and fair, because I know playing on like the PS1 RPGs, like I'd be following along with the guide. It's like, all right, in this fight, not telling you why, but make sure Aerith doesn't have any good equipment on her and stuff like that. So on the 6th, the next thing of Tartarus opens up, and I didn't make it to the new thing of Tartarus this week. I tried really hard, but it was freakishly hard. I got to the last Dumaflachi, the last boss, because they give you 2 bosses per month to get through. And the last one I was on was the mythical Gigas, who has this thing that deals like 700 strike damage to the entire party. So you have to have like everyone's persona be strong against strike, and also have like attack mirrors and all this extra stuff that I did not have. And I tried it.
Wait,
like,
which boss is this?
it's the level a lot.
Level a lot.
I think 160.
Oh yeah, you were having trouble with that one before.
160. I'm not like on level 160 yet.
Yeah, so Mythical Gigas is on level 160 of Tartarus, and he's hard as hell. And because I've been every month, I have done my 2 Tartarus bosses and gotten my old document and taken it back for some free somas and bead chains from the quest. Like it's overall has been a fairly easy quest. It keeps me leveled, and it lets me be able to talk about the new block of Tartarus each time. And I won't be able to say what the new block of Tartarus is next week because I probably still won't be able to kill Mythical Gigas after a week of grinding. Damn. So I'll probably be stuck there for a while. I was like looking up like tricks on like the internet, and most people are like, oh, it's recommended to be like level 55 when you do this, and I'm level like 46. So it's going to be a while. I might be able to squeeze out some grinding time and just get through him and then 2 more bosses, but I doubt it.
Easy must be really easy, because I'm 45. I am not that far behind you. Although I did beat the level 122 boss pretty easy. Nice. Like Ken left the room for like a minute, and when I started the fight, he came back and they were all almost dead because like I was using Mazio and stuff or whatever.
Yeah, but like some of them are pretty. Like one of the people in our Discord said that Atlas didn't even look at a balancing guide when they were making the Tartarus bosses. And so like all of them have been fairly easy for me on easy. Like, there was one that was like a war of attrition, and I used like 3 of my white protection items on, but I'm out of those now. And Mythical Gigas, I don't even like get a shot off on him before he just wipes my whole party with one move. And it's ridiculous, and I hate it, but maybe I'll put in the time to grind it and try and get back so I can talk about the new wings every time they open up. But I did not succeed on that this time. So on the 6th, at nighttime, you see Ken by himself, and Akihiko shows up, and Ken is like, I always wanted to tell the truth about my mom, but no one believed me, and now they're marking Shinji as a victim of random violence, and still no one knows the truth. Akihiko tells him that it's his choice to keep running or face it head on, and then Akihiko leaves. Ken admits to himself that he was lying to himself, and and running from the truth. And for Shinji, he's going to see it through to the end. Then Kin's persona digivolves, and back to the dorm, we're all sitting around talking about how Kin has been gone for a day. Fuuka says she's going to go look again, but then Best Doggo perks up and looks to the door, and Kin walks in because he's come home. Everyone is like, "Oh, I'm so worried. I'm glad you're okay." But Mitsuru is all business, and she asks if Kin can fight, and Kin promises that he won't run away again. That night in the dark hour, Pharaoh shows up and asks if we're doing okay. I say that Shinji died. He says that dying happens every day, and he used to not care, but now he does because I'm his friend, and he would be sad if I died. He says that the end is coming, but only he can remember. He asks if his existence is something that I'm refusing to accept, then apologizes for being cryptic and leaves.
But we all know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Right? Like, wait, well, what do you think he's talking about here?
I think he's talking about, I think he died in the explosion.
He's a ghost boy?
Yeah. I think he had some, wow, Michael, that is like the most judgmental.
No.
Oh well, Eli's an idiot.
Like, no, it's just like no, it's good. It's good to hear the point and the perspective that you guys.
I have no idea, really. I know in episode 1 you said that him resembling male main character was on purpose, so that confuses me even more. No idea.
Yeah.
Maybe both of us are dead, and I'm just living some weird post Twin Peaks sort of life.
We're gonna throw that out. No. That's not what's happening here. No, we're not gonna do that to the viewers. But, absolutely not. That's not what's happening.
Yeah. I have no idea what he's getting at.
Well, I will say that there's a lot. I mean, what's his arcana is what?
Death.
Okay. All right. I think that it's important to think about like that when you're
the game
watching
is actually based on this,
which is why.
Sorry, go ahead.
Which is why, like, I think he might be a ghost. It wouldn't surprise me if he turns out to be a ghost. It feels like it's something more than that. So I'm ready for this to turn anime on me and it'd be something I had completely no idea.
Yeah, I was gonna say it turns out to be like based on The Sixth Sense, and the kid is Bruce Willis the whole time.
No, I'm not gonna spoil it for you just yet. I think that there's a little left that I think that you guys can still yet to discover about it, that I think will tell you a little bit more, because I don't want to say that you're not close, but you're not exactly hot. You're just you're warm.
I'm an ISFP on the Myers-Briggs scale. I'm not good at interpreting things. Like, I see stuff and it's there and I recognize it for what it is. And so, like, looking deeper into meaning is not something that I'm really accustomed to, despite the fact that I love, movies and literature and things like that. I usually take stuff at face value.
Okay.
I'm sure I'm going to be shocked.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then great. You're going to enjoy it. You really are. Yeah. Well, I don't know if you're going to be shocked, but actually somebody at work and I, along with Sam, had a conversation about Persona 3 a few weeks ago. And I guess the best way that I can put it is that it's a very abstract game. I would encourage you to like reference that conversation that Pharaoh's had with you and try to look a little deep into it and use every context clue that you possibly can.
Yeah. So the next thing that happens after that is the 13th through the 17th, we have exams. And then on the 19th, they tell you your scores. And I scored the highest in my class, finally, because I had...
Me too.
Me too. Not because I cheated.
I had maxed my academics by this point. So I was able to be super smart. And when you do that, it says Mitsuru wanted to congratulate you, so go and see her. And I thought that would start off her social link, but all she does is give you some of the tarot cards, the usable tarot cards that buff your persona.
What? Wait. She didn't give me jack shit.
You have to go and find her on a day that she's at the school. So since you've done,
I talked to her. I talked to her at the dorm, and she was like, "Oh, great job," and I'm just like, "You."
Yeah,
no,
at
you have to do
school.
it at school. It's like in school Mitsudo.
Yeah, so when you go and you do that, it should. I don't think there's an expiration date on it. So I think if you just go find her at school, she'll give them to you. But she gives you
Okay.
queens, a set of queens. So you get a queen of cup, of sword, of all of that stuff too. And I buffed them all on my utility one that I usually have up. So then after that on the 20th, which I love how we just skipped from the 6th to the 20th. But
yeah, like nothing happens
like
in between though.
every like since everyone's persona started leveling digivolving and leveling up, like there was just a lot of like breathing room, and like when you would talk to people, like it took a while for you to be able to go back into Tartarus after it happened. Like everyone was like sad about it, so you talk to them as NPCs at the dorm, and they would just be like, yeah man, I'm not really feeling up to it today, like I wonder if Shinji would appreciate what we're still doing, etc., etc. So it was very like purposefully empty here, which would mean a lot more if it wasn't just empty the last couple of months. But I have words I will say about the emptiness of the middle chunk of this game when we finally finish it in a couple weeks. But so on the 20th, Natsuki asks Fuuka why she looks so sad, and Fuuka says that she's sad about Shinji, and she knows that some things you can't get back because of what happened to her parents. And Natsuki then is like, "Oh, by the way, I'm transferring." Like, "Oh, my now best friend is really, really sad. Maybe now's the best time to just ruin her life." So on the roof, Natsuki is self-aware finally ever since the second month. She's like, Fuuka, you're weird because I'm the biggest bitch in the world and you're sad that I'm leaving.
Yeah.
He's like, I ruined your
hilarious.
life. Why are you sad? And Fuuka's like, well, I'm just sad you didn't say anything because Fuuka is a better person than me and can forgive her bullies like that. Natsuki says that her dad is sick and doesn't make enough to stay in the area. And she says that Fuuka is crazy for being friends with her. And Natsuki says that they're a lot the same with their overbearing parents. And Natsuki says to make things up with Fuuka's parents before it's too late, because Natsuki's dad being sick, she knows she's running out of time with him. She says that Fuuka helped her change, so she's going to start over in her new school and not be the biggest bitch in her new school. She tells Fuuka to figure out what she really wants, and Fuuka says she never thought of what she wanted. She just wanted to fit in. And Natsuki's like, fuck the haters, fuck trying to fit in, just be you. And she says that she likes Fuuka and leaves. She then texts Fuuka after she's gone, even if we're apart, we'll still be connected. Fuuka realizes that her power comes from wanting others to be happy more than just wanting to fit in, which is why she's been so connected to them and can see them across time and space. So then her persona digivolves to a super duper pretty version of it.
Oh, I love her persona.
And then all of C's runs up to the roof, and Fuuka says she's going to use her new persona to protect everyone, and everyone's a big happy family. So then on the 24th, Mitsuru and Yukari are talking. Yukari asks Mitsuru why she fights. Mitsuru says she's atoning for the past. Yukari says she knows the story about her dad and she hopes she can atone for his mistakes. Before that, she didn't know why that she fought. She said that when it's all over, she still won't know why she fights, but at least they can go back to school. So she's just like, I'm kind of just doing my thing all right now. So I just am making do, and I don't really know why, which is like weird to me because I felt Yukari had the most character development out of everybody so far, but maybe she does, but she doesn't realize that she has. And so maybe everything that we've picked up on so far is all subtext, and it's not actual text for another month or so. But I thought that was weird that while everyone was realizing their truth and getting a new Digimon, she did not. She couldn't figure it out. So then the last bit of plot, if you can even call it that, is on the 27th. We get Ferris to show up, say it's 1 week to the full moon, and he says that he'll come see us when it's all over. and that was the last of the big plot for the week. So we have November, December, and January left, Eli. We only have 3 months left.
Oh, man.
What do you think is going to happen in these 3 months?
That's a good question because we're supposed to come up against the last shadow in November. So I'm imagining there's going to be a bunch of stuff with Strega. Going back, sorry, I wanted to say about Fuuka. I actually had some food in my mouth. Okay. So I didn't want to interrupt while I was chewing.
Go ahead.
I have a slightly better appreciation for her now because that was a very like Sailor Moon kind of thing for her to do. Like, oh, she's got the power of friendship. And at first I was kind of like, ugh, this. But then I was like, no, because this is very like, this is
on brand for her.
Yeah, it's very on brand for her. And it's like, it's what got me into anime in the first place was the whole, power of friendship, power of love. And, love conquers everything and it's great. And I was like, no, you know what? I do really appreciate that she went that route and that she powered up from wanting other people to be happy. And I think part of why I've disliked Fuuka is because she reminds me of myself. I'm not going to go into that too much, but save the depressing shit.
I loved Fuuka's character.
Yeah, I like her. I like her a lot more now.
You should take it as a compliment that you didn't like Fuuka because she reminded you too much of yourself, and that's mine and Michael's favorite character in the game.
Are you serious?
So you're our favorite character.
She was my favorite character. Yeah. She's great. She like doesn't know how to cook, but she's like persistent. She wants to do well. She cares about her friends, and like she wants to be like respected and wanted. And she's like she's so cool. She's like always there to help. I wish that actually there was like more conflict with Fuuka that I saw, because I really wanted to get more from her character outside of like really emotional and kind of like nerdy. I kind of, it would have been cool to see someone like Fuuka be moody or like pissy or something, or like, waspish.
Ever since her starting storyline, I was like, I am gonna like not like this character because she already seems way too passive. Because it turned out she wasn't actually fucking with her bullies. And I was like, she's already reminding me way too much of myself, and I'm just not going to enjoy having her around. But I think I'm starting to come around to her a little bit. But anyway, as far as what's going to happen, I'm guessing that there's going to be like some new moons, because I do know that like based on the lunar cycles that there's going to be at least one blue moon, considering how early in the month we're getting the full moons. And I think I said new moon earlier. I meant full moon.
Yeah.
So we're going to probably have 4 full moons left instead of just 3. But I'm wondering what's going to happen. Like if there is going to be increased shadow activity once we kill that last shadow, or maybe Strega is going to come along and is going to keep fighting us and going to try and prevent us from killing that shadow on multiple occasions.
What I think is going to happen, and it comes from a steady diet of JRPGs growing up, is we're going to complete our mission, and we're going to realize that our mission is not our real mission, and something else is going to be the new goalpost.
And then it turns out Ikutsuki is the mastermind of everything.
I think that they're all just gonna quit the Seas thing, leave the universe, and then go to Persona 3 dance.
It's just dance all night for the next 3 months.
Yeah. I think that's what happened to all the Persona characters. They were just like, fuck this. I'm going to go to a club and dance. And that's how that game series was created.
We must leave. Our people need us.
Yeah. Let's go shake our asses. That's what I think is going to happen. No, again, I just have to be left with me sipping my tea, waiting quietly for the gag to come along, because that's you guys are going to be gagged by the end of this game.
Yeah. So I have up a list of the social links because I have most of them maxed, but I know a lot of them I've already done and you've already done before. So trying to go through and see which ones I've finished.
I did get Akuma Tanaka up to level 10.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we said we were going to talk about him, so let's go ahead and start with him.
Yeah.
So since you did most of him this time, you catch us up on tell us about him.
I mean, there's not a lot to say. He's a total sleaze. He kept teasing me about like he needed an heir for his fortune and was like, "Oh no, not you." The board would give me weird looks if I adopted someone as old as you. Just basically taunting us and
Mm-hmm.
telling us, well, I've got all this money and I don't know what to do with it, so I guess I'm going to give it to charity because it looks good for me. And he's gross. He's a terrible person. It's very like on the nose for him to be the devil arcana.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I hate him.
The twist, because like all of them have a twist at the end because you make everybody into a better person, and that's how you max your social link. He says that because he was only donating to charity to like look good for this hot chick is what basically what he said. But then he said that he's helping the children's at the end. He's like, I realize that I'm helping the children's charity because children who learn to cope with adversity are more likely to become rich and famous. And since he's invested in their future, he can introduce himself to him and be taken care of in his old age. But then he reveals that he does actually care about watching people mature, and he thanks me for helping him change from pure evil to
just
evil
sort of
that's helping people. Yeah,
regular old evil.
Yeah, I was expecting a little more from him. I realized halfway through that like I wasn't taking notes because he basically would like just show up and be like, yeah, you should totally like fuck over people, and that's the way you do business. And then it would be the end of the social link. And so like it started off really cool with him scamming you out of all that money, but it kind of wasn't that amazing as we got through it.
I'm still glad have yet to get a social link with that guy.
Yeah.
Like halfway through, he stopped threatening us with like, like, if you tell anyone about this, I'm going to come to your house and I'm going to ring the doorbell at midnight every day. But like, he was still a sleazeball at the end. Yeah.
I did max the old couple. Have you maxed them?
Oh, I maxed them a long time ago.
Okay. So where last we had left off on the podcast where we talked about it, I think was when we talked about you took credit for the persimmon tree petition, even though we had nothing to do with it.
I set a precedent. I'm going to stick with it. I am the liar.
Right? So on the last one, you come in and Bunkichi is asleep in the middle of the day, which is like all it gives you on his like Alzheimer's deterioration. I was really expecting that to come up more, but really all it is just like, oh yeah, he's old and he falls asleep a lot, instead of like, because like it starts with like such that gut punch of like, oh, he forgot that his son was dead, to just, oh yeah, in the end he's just sleeping a lot.
Well, it might be, it could be either really early onset Alzheimer's, or it could just be plain old senility.
Yeah. But so I go to talk to him, and he says that he wrote a letter to the school saying to cut the tree down. The reason they were going to cut it down would be a new addition to the school. He said that his son was a teacher. I always thought he died as a student, but he says that his son was a teacher at the school, and his son would have preferred if there was a new place for kids to learn. And Bunkichi didn't want to deprive kids of that opportunity, just to help remember his son. So he gave me, because he gives you a treat every time you talk to him. He gave me a persimmon from the tree. It was the first fruit that had ever grown from it, and I thought that was really, really sweet.
Aww.
And like like as Michael predicted on episode 1 when I first talked to the old people, I really, 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 really liked theirs because that whole like dealing with loss and then coming to realize at the end of all of it, like I'm doing this all wrong and I need to move on was like a whole year and a half of my life. And so being able to like every step of the way, like it was almost like the 7 stages of grief or whatever with them. Like I saw like they can't believe that the persimmon tree is going to be taken away, and then they're desperate to save it, and then they finally get people to save it, and then they realize that it's not what they wanted, and all of that stuff.
Everything that you're saying right now is so really relevant to this game, and I'm like, and I'm going to have to reference this episode at the end of this game and be like, you said this and X, Y, and Z, and oh my god. Okay,
Michael's
great.
gonna be listening to this episode and like writing down timestamps. Like
I am. No,
remember
I for
at
sure am.
1843 you said this.
I think it's really unique that you were drawn to their story, considering that their story does deal a lot with the death subject, and it's very ironic that you're talking about like the 7 stages of death, but it's also really important for their story. But yeah, they had a very they did have a really sad story.
That was one of the social links that I liked all the way through personally.
Right.
Yeah. One thing I just saw, because it was in the middle of social links, so I didn't color code it. But after Shinji dies, Akihiko has a new post-battle phrase where he's like, "You see that, Shinji?" And that that hurt real bad.
That one tugged at my chest a little bit when I first heard it. I was like, okay. I was like, all right, time to do the shuffle. Thanks, Akihiko. Appreciate that.
So the other one that I really liked, and it was one that I said last episode that I didn't think I would like it, but I went back to do it because you liked Keisuke so much, was Nozomi, the Gourmet King. Have you done anything with him, Eli?
I haven't yet either.
Okay. So Nozomi, just spoil it for you because I don't think you have enough time to do it if you wanted to. We're getting towards the end of the game where it's like you just pick the ones that you're close to the end on for social links and don't start any new ones. But so Nozomi, the first couple of times, he just is talking about how he's fat and ugly, and he thinks that everybody hates him and liked his brother more. And it's like that was the reason I didn't like it. Like I did like the first 4, and all of them were just like, man, it's so cool that you're hanging out with me, even though I know you're just hanging out with me because you're taking pity on me because I'm not as cool as my brother, blah, 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 blah. So it was just like kind of meh. So I left him alone for like 6 months. And so I finally went back to stick to it. And the next time that we hung out, some dude comes up and is like, hey, hold on. So someone comes up and is like, hey, I recognize your voice from anywhere. And he's like, my son gave you money that was supposed to go to his tutor. And Nozomi's like, well, your son hated that tutor, but you never listened to your son. The money's going to do better now. And then Nozomi says, I'll forgive you, but I'm not going to let you into paradise. And people who died or non-believers are forbidden from entering to paradise. The dad's like, my kid's only in elementary school. I'm not here for your cultic thinking. And if Nozomi was his kid, he would be concerned for how far he's fallen for the cult. Nozomi gets mad and is like, well, you probably think that I should have died instead of my brother. I'm not as smart as kind of him, but I'm the one that's alive. The old guy's like, dude, you have problems, and leaves. And then as he's leaving, he's like, don't hang out with him or he'll scam you too. And I was really lost at that point. I was like, did I just like go on autopilot and skip through a social link or something? But in fact, it was supposed to be like obnoxious like that. So So the next time I hang out with him, he's says that he's one person short, and so he's not going to lose to his brother again. And uh, so then he gets sick and runs to the bathroom and comes back. I asked him if he's sick. He's like, I'm every bit as healthy as you. You just think that because I'm fat, I'm quote unquote sick. He then considers. He says that he considers overeating and then nearly dying in the bathroom is just a trial. He then asks me to join Paradise with him, and I'm like, no. So. So then at that point I saw that the stuff with the cult hadn't happened yet, because he tells me that he's a member of this group that's going to rebuild the world after the world ends, and he's going to let me join for the low price of 130,000 yen, which is how much that he had scammed the little kid out of before. When I said no, he's like, I thought you were my friend. I'm going to pray for you. And he runs off.
Whoa.
What was that about?
Yeah, so this is where I was like, what the heck is going on with this kid? So the next time I hang out with him, he says that he hasn't been doing well because he's worried about me for blaspheming against Paradise before. He says that I'm probably just embarrassed to be seen with him, and the world just wants him to be like his little brother, and he wishes that the world would end so he could get to Paradise. That's why he's doing all of this stuff, because in Paradise he'll have a tall, slender body that will glow in the dark, so he'll be safe at night. And he says, I'm sorry I'm not like my brother, but can you still please be my friend? And the middle-aged man from before comes up, is like, oh, you see, he asked you for 130,000. That's the same as my son that he scammed out of money. So then the next time Nozomi is excited because he's made his quota for Paradise, and then two new dudes show up and ask him if he's going to scam them too. He's mad, says he's just trying to save them from their suffering. He says, of course I can't understand because I'm good looking. Then two new people show up, and they look familiar, so I follow him. And behind Polonia, they're mugging Nozomi, and they say that he went too far in the cult to scam people, but Nozomi legitimately looks like he believes it, and he didn't know that it was a scam to take $130,000 from people. And so they're going to beat him up, but avoid his face so that he can't press charges. So I show up to save him. I call him off, and they leave. Then the middle-aged man from before seems like he was calling the shots, and he's like, he says, Nozomi, forget about the money you took from my son. Just leave town. I don't want to see. He says, don't ever speak to me or my son again, like that meme. But so then on the last one, because there's like, that wasn't the last, which I thought it would be, but the last one, he reveals to me that he and his brother were twins but not identical, and his brother was everyone's favorite. He used to hit his brother for no reason, but his brother was always supportive of him. But then in 8th grade, his brother got really bad food poisoning and died, and Nozomi felt free at that point because people started paying attention to him because his brother wasn't there to soak up everything, and he felt like an asshole for being happy that his brother died. So he tried to be like his brother, do well in school, do martial arts, but people always laughed at him for being a fat guy learning karate or whatever. So he made his gourmet king persona to eat his troubles away. But if he keeps it up, he's afraid he'll be nothing like his brother. I tell him that he's irreplaceable, and he's like, you're right, I shouldn't worry about being like my brother, I should be like myself. So he knights me as gourmet king, and says that he's going to be a food critic and not just a fat ass, because as gourmet king he just ate everything, he didn't actually blog about it, but now he's going to go and be a food critic and take it slow and all of that stuff. So I maxed his right there, and I really enjoyed his, but those first 4 are really boring. So if you do him, just mash X to get through the first 4.
That cult stuff is really weird.
It sounds a little...
it was really weird.
I genuinely sound confused because I have no idea who that NPC is.
He is the fat kid who hangs out at Polonia Mall. So if you go to talk to him, he's like, you have to have, I think, enough charm to get him to talk to you in the first place. And then after that, he asks for something that he's never tasted before. So you give him an odd morsel from Tartarus. And he's like, that was disgusting, but I have never tasted it before. So we can be friends now. And you start his stuff from there.
Interesting.
Okay. I haven't maxed my level with like Junpei or Akihiko yet, so I'll save that when I'm a little bit closer to that.
Yeah. I got really close with Fuuka, but not quite. And I got really close with Bebe, but not quite.
Oh,
I'm very
looking
close
to
with
see
Akihiko.
who else.
Yeah. So am I. She's like really emotional. Is like always blowing up on me, and then she's like, "I gotta go. Sorry, bye." I saved her life, and then she ends up like running away. I have no idea how that happened. It was so annoying. And then but Akihiko did ask me if I was dating Junpei. He's like, "Are you dating Junpei?" And then I'm like, "No. Why would you say that? I don't get that. What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm not dating Junpei. What do you mean?" And then Junpei, when I went to go hang out with him, he was just like, "Oh my god, are you talking to Akihiko?" He's like, "That makes a lot of sense if you are." He's like, "You guys would be really cute together," and it gave me like a different angle on Junpei. Like he's like a supportive buddy. He's all over the place. I don't know where to fucking put Junpei. I really don't, and I don't like that about him.
Yeah. What about Rio or the librarian? Have you maxed them yet?
Rio is in love with Kenji, and that's the reason why she's an asshole to everybody. We just found out. I have been avoiding the librarian in favor of Fuuka and Akihiko, so I will get back to you on that.
Okay. Were there any others that you maxed this week?
I'm
Eli?
very close to Yukari. I think I'm like level 8 or 9 with her, but didn't quite finish her out. And I'm working on Bebe, but I'm only like 4 or 5 with him.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll probably end up talking about Bebe next time, as well as I'll probably finish Fuuka and Maiko then. And
I started working on Maiko. I've gotten through like 3 or 4 with her as well.
Okay. I also have Akinari. He's the dying young man. I don't know if you've met him. He's part of Maiko's.
I read about him. I have to still go.
Striped shirt, dude.
Because basically what I'm trying to do is find the ones that you're going to go after and me go after other ones. So if you could do student council.
Okay, cool. All right.
That would be cool.
I started to work a little bit on that.
If Michael has student council to do, that would be great. Well, Michael first off should do all of the female specific ones. So Junpei, Ryu, Rio, Junpei, Akihiko, all those guys. Let's see. None of us have done Mamoru yet.
Nope.
Have you, Eli?
Nope.
Yeah. He was like part of the main plot to go and talk to him, and I just was like, nope. I don't even think I've gone over there on a day that he's there. But so I'll finish Akinari and Mamoru. If you want to finish Maiko and student council, work on those, and then we'll just try and fill in as much as we can because we only have the next couple of weeks to do it all. And then whichever ones we don't get, of course, we always can just watch a video.
It just means that they weren't like cool enough for us. Like, fuck those people. Like they're lame.
Like, why should we care?
Yeah, why I don't give a fuck? I'm too like I built my social links with who I built my social links with. Like, like they just weren't. I don't want to talk to that French guy. I'm in Japan. Okay. Right.
My monkey sphere has to remain really small for me to really like know people well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I like how that's like also kind of. I'll hold that to the end.
It's got to be getting harder for you to like.
It is because you guys are finding so much out, and now I'm at a point where I'm just like, yes, good. Yeah, it's very.
I have a feeling that November is going to be jam-packed next week. I don't know if it actually will be because I thought that a bunch of these months would be jam-packed and they weren't. So, but November feels like that's going to be our last shadow. Things are going to change in some form, and it'll probably pick things up there. But knowing this game, it'll be super exciting, and then we'll have 27 free days.
Yeah,
So
this game has like more
who even
plot
knows?
twists than like a season of RuPaul's Drag Race. So so you're like, there's like one more shadow left, and I'm just like, but is there? This like Shinji also literally just died. So
yeah, but that was the only thing that happened in this whole
That's
month.
true.
So I don't know. I have lots of words that I want to wait and see at the end, but so far I have lots of words on the pacing of this game. But that about wraps it up for the week. What was your favorite part of this month, Eli?
I liked Fuuka powering up. I really liked seeing her make that realization that she really wants to make the people around her happy, or at least to help them be happy. She doesn't necessarily want to dictate their emotions.
Yeah.
But she embraces her role as support, and she really is a better person than me. Although, like, I don't know. I think in middle or high school, like, if the bully kids had suddenly turned around and been like, "Hey, I want to be friends with you," like, I was such a trusting kid, and I'm still way more trusting than I probably should be. So I probably would have like totally gone for it, and then I would have been dicked over later, and I would have never seen it coming, even though it would have been coming a mile away. So yeah, I don't know. I just relate way more to Fuuka than I wish I did. But
Fuuka's the best.
Thanks. I'm just gonna take credit for that. But yeah, I definitely appreciate her way more now, and like seeing the growth that she's gone through.
I think that my favorite part was probably finishing up the Hierophant Arcana. Like, as much as, because like the problem with Shinji being the character that dies is Aerith is your second party member, so even though her death is a completely unjustified, doesn't make sense in the story. Final Fantasy VII is a bad game, but like
Fight
it at
us.
least is someone that you've had for like 20 hours of the game so far. So even if storyline wise she hadn't earned an honorable death like she got, gameplay wise she at least had, because like you had her for a very long time. Shinji, we like you said in the Discord, you used him for about 2 battles before he was gone. So
He was really strong.
I was mad.
Though.
I was like, he was one of my best characters. Like, and now he's fucking dead.
Yeah.
Come on.
He was overtuned to be like physically strong.
Which I guess I should have seen it coming that they'd kill him off because he was too good.
yeah, but like I didn't even notice it because when you first got Akihiko, he was over leveled too, and then he leveled out as it went along. So I just like gameplay wise, I wasn't attached to him. Storyline wise, I didn't have time to get attached to him. It just kind of stunk. Like I probably would have killed Fuuka if I were writing this game. Fuuka would have been the party member death, that trope. Like probably would have been her because she was such a like important
pure character.
Yeah, such a pure character, an important one that like you get early that kind of like rallies the team. Like the whole game changes once Fuuka joins, and so taking that away from you, I felt would have been strong or whatever.
Yeah, that would have been way more devastating, I think.
So because the plot this month didn't affect me that much, I'm picking a social link, and it's definitely the Hierophant that won me over. What about you, Michael? What was your favorite part? And you can pick your favorite part from either September or October, since you weren't here last week.
I think it was getting to know Shinji. You know, I really liked being able to see behind this character who was like really cold and really stubborn and stuff like that, you know. And they made him like really charming. In fact, when I was doing the social league with Shinji, I felt really weird because I was like, is this the reason why people like these dating simulator games? Like, it's like, I was like, oh, because some of this is like really charming dialogue and stuff like that. So I think I liked that the most because upon replaying it with Persona 3 Portable, I guess there's like some improvements like that made me realize why people like that sort of genre, like the dating simulator genre. So it was really cool to kind of get a different perspective on that.
Yeah,
that's what I was into.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. So I did push back the deadline for the poll for our next game since we took a week off. I pushed it back an extra week. If you haven't listened to our bonus episode on Space Funeral, you should. It is really creepy and awesome and hilarious, and a bunch of like, if you're familiar with MS Paint Adventure, specifically Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff, this is the Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff of video games. Like, it's bonkers, but it's so good. But because we took the week off, I pushed the poll back a week. So you have still until we record episode 9, which is 2 weeks from time of recording. So you have time. If you want to vote on that, you can do that at patreon.com/rpgbookclub. And you can also chat with us on our Twitter, which is at RPG Book Club. Right now, we're mostly just talking about like stuff in Persona, but I'm kind of avoiding posting because I keep getting a lot of Persona spoilers from the @Today in Persona Twitter handle. So I'll probably be more active when it comes to Rogue Galaxy, because spoilers, you should pick Rogue Galaxy over Okage Shadow King. But
Jesus.
Then you can talk to us on our Discord. We have links to it in the description. We have links to it on our Twitter. We have links to it on our Patreon. Basically, if you find one of us somewhere, we'll get you into the Discord. We have a couple people that have shown up and started talking to us this week, which is really awesome. Thank you guys for hanging out. And yeah, I think that's all I pretty much have to say about this week. Next week, we will be on December 1st, coming up real close to the end of the game. And I'm excited for it. For RPG Book Club, I am Sam Allman.
I've been Michael Rodriguez.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.